Good afternoon, or good morning, or good evening, whichever the case may be. My name is Gary Goodworth, and I am the webmaster of An Unseen World. I'm going to discuss kind of an obscure verse in the Bible and what it could mean and what I think it means. It's a prophecy verse taken from Luke chapter 21, verse 11, and talking about the second coming of Christ and the signs that precede that. We understand what earthquakes are. A great earthquake shall be in diverse places, and that's happening today all over the place. And famines, and there's famines in different parts of the world. We understand that. And pestilences, which are diseases, and COVID's a good example, the most recent scenario of that. We understand that. But then it says, "And fearful sights and great signs shall there be from heaven." If you ever hear a sermon on this, the pastors or preachers will mention this verse, but they don't really elaborate on it. And if you look down here in the New American Standard Bible, it says, "And there will be terrible sights and great signs from heavens." And the NSAB says, "And there will be terrors and great signs from heaven." Rick Renner of Rick Renner Ministries, who's an expert in the Greek language, says the Greek word translated "fearful sights" can be translated as monsters or monstrous events. So what is that Greek word? Let's scroll over a little bit here, show you what this is. What does phobotron, the Greek word there for fearful sights is the word phobotron. And it says, according to Strong's, phobotron implies that which causes terror or fright. It comes from the root word phobio, from which we derive our English word phobia. Phobia is that which causes fear, or that it can be something that installs great respect or reverence. It can instill awe or amazement, or simply compel us to flee for our lives. And I was thinking about this. What could be the fearful sights and the great signs from heaven? And if you look at YouTube videos and things like that, in channels like Slapped Ham or the Impossible Channel, you see that a lot of weird stuff is captured on camera. And we have the cryptid stories, the Bigfoot, dogmen, skinwalkers, shadow people, things like that, which all produce fear in people who see that. And you also have the UFO phenomena, which is becoming more and more prevalent in our day. So I'm thinking, to go back to this verse here, "And there will be fearful sights and great signs from heaven." That, to me, that could be a manifestation of the demonic world manifesting in our lives. And the world becomes more and more pagan, we'll see more and more manifestations of mysterious creatures and UFOs. Things like this, Bigfoot, or UFOs. And most UFO sightings are lights in the sky. You don't see them like that for the most part. You see them like this. And here's another one. See your lights in the sky, but somebody drew, this right here is an extrapolation of what they think this could be, but it's not. But it's speculation. It's not what it is. So people see a bunch of lights in the skies, and they automatically assume we're being visited by aliens from outer space. And here we got another picture of a UFO being captured by radar. I think from a Navy pilot on this one. See, So the strange things are happening, but here's what I think about the fearful sights and great signs from heaven. I think all this stuff goes back to right here. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. If you cross-reference over here in Colossians 1:3, he has rescued us from the dominion of darkness and brought us into the kingdom of his beloved Son. And 1 Peter 5:8, be sober-minded and alert. Your adversary, the devil, prowls around like a roaring lion seeking someone to devour. And 1 John 5:19 says, we know that we are of God and the whole world is under the power of the evil one. The great earmark of the last days is deception. And Mark 13:5, and Jesus answered and began to say, take heed lest any man deceive you. Deception is the key word for how life will be just before the Lord returns. And we got some cross references here. Jesus answered, see to it that no one deceives you. Luke 21:8, the very chapter that I'm talking about with the fearful signs and great signs from heaven. Jesus said, see it to it that you are not deceived, for many will come in my name, claiming I am he, and the time is near. Do not follow them. And in 2 Thessalonians, that no one deceive you in any way, for it will not come until the rebellion occurs, and the man of lawlessness, the son of destruction, is revealed. And then 1 John 4:1, beloved, do not believe every spirit, but test the spirits to see whether they are God, for many false prophets have got out into the world. And 2 Peter 2:1, now there are also false prophets among the people, just as there will be false teachers among you. They will secretly introduce destructive heresies, even denying the master who brought them, bringing swift destruction on themselves. And if you read Revelation, it says, but the dragon, that's a picture of Satan, was not strong enough, and no longer was any place found in heaven for his angels, and the great dragon was hurled down, that ancient serpent called the devil and Satan, the deceiver of the whole world. He was hurled to the earth and his angels with him. And I heard in a loud voice in heaven say, now have come the salvation and the power of the kingdom of our God and the authority of his Christ. For the accuser of our brothers has been thrown down, he who accuses them day and night before our God. So going back to this verse here, and there will be terrible sights and great signs from heaven, or in King James, and fearful sights and great signs shall there be from heaven. I believe those fearful sights and great signs from heaven are the demonic spirit world manifesting themselves in our world. And as the world becomes more and more rejectful of the Bible and everything associated with Christianity, we're going to see more and more manifestations of the weird stuff that's captured on camera, like shadow people, skinwalkers, UFOs, aliens from other craft, all kinds of weird stuff. I believe those are all just deceptions. They're real, but they're demonic deceptions. And churches never talk about this. I've been going to a church since 2004, 21 years. The sermons they preach are good and Bible-based, but they never talk about stuff that's considered fringe, on the fringe, or they don't hardly ever talk about prophecy either. Some of the stuff in prophecy can be on the fringe too. So I just wanted to discuss this verse with you. Rick Renner says that can mean monsters or monster sights, monstrous events, but he doesn't, go further than that. If you run a ministry, you really can't, because you can't say that's Bigfoot and UFOs and stuff, you'd be run out of the ministry. But I think that's kind of, those type of things are part of the last days deception, and they're real, but they're not, but they come from the evil spirit world and not from heaven. Thank you for being with me today. You have a good day, and see you next video.